Welcome back to round 2 of Really Rubbish Racing v Australicars. It was a cracking first race, wasn't it, Tom?
It certainly was, Nick, and if race 2 it will be anything to go by for that, I have to say we are in for a cracker of a race. Of course, the 40-minute duration of race 1 means we have a 20-minute race 2, the 40-20 split, as we know, at the 2.44 mile Sydney Motorsports Park circuit. And it's a very, very fast and flowing circuit with some difficult technical corners thrown in as well. But Ollie Knight, he'll start from pole position, the number 21, of course, the race 1 winner. James Price-Harper, the offenders driver, will start in second place, the number 78. Sam Harani in third, alongside Tom Bellingham in fourth. Pete Walker starts fifth. Jamie Hunt for the young offenders starts sixth. April Dillon in seventh, and she's joined by Bjorn Golder, the Scuderia Acello number 10, in 8th position. On the 5th row, Joe Nathan of the RlyR Racing Team, number 26, he's in 9th. Odell in 10th with the number 23, of course. Rob Kobe in 11th, and Lee Harrison in 12th in the number 7. Craig Wallard in 13th for the Eiffel Motorsports car, 2.8 seconds back of pole position. He'll be looking to capitalise on his race 1, as will Dan Thorne as well. Don't forget about Neil Crawford, of course, a bit further back. James Lambert, he's in 17th, got a lot of ground to make up, as has Dave Morley as well, the number 149, nearly 5 seconds from pole position. Ben Huddleton is in 19th for the Fire Crews Racing Team, with Campbell Wallace rounding out the grid. The number 64 will start from 21st position.
Standard start for this race, and we can just see them all making their way to the grid now.
They are, and we're going to wait then for the 5 red lights, which will signal the start of the race. So round 4 of the V8 Australicars Championship is about to get underway. 5 lights on, they're off, and we're underway now. It's a good start then from Knight. James Price-Harper bogs down, and Sam Harani looks to get the jump on him as the cars come up towards turn 1. Everyone away cleanly. Sam Harani has got the jump, and Tom Bellingham there up into 3rd position in the Independables car. Don't forget about Jamie Hunt coming around the outside of James Price-Harper then in towards turn 2. But it's Ollie Knight who's got the whole shot ahead of Sam Harani, who's ahead of the Independables car. Yeah, further incident further back. There's the Independables car of 802. That's Dan Thorne, the teammate to Tom Bellingham. He's around again. His weekend goes from bad to worse. And also we see one of the Canadian tyre cars, the Howler Racing car of April Dillon off. She's not going to be very happy, and I think a Fire Crews Racing car
going backwards there in the background.
He is going backwards in the race as well, but it's Sam Harani then in second place, just defending ahead of Tom Bellingham. James Price-Harper then shuffled down to 5th position after starting in 2nd, and he's looking to get ahead of Jamie Hunt, potentially looking to plan to move up the inside into the left hand, and not quite there. Maybe trying to live another day into the hairpin. If he can pull it off around the outside here, that'll be a Dan Dare move. And also don't forget a bit further back about the RlyR Racing Team car ahead of the Scuderia Acello ones. That's Bjorn Golder going around. We just saw at the bottom of the screen, and James Price-Harper then does get ahead of Jamie Hunt, number 78, ahead of number 16 on the opening lap. So Price-Harper then up to 4th position. Great move from him.
Yeah, when he was going around the outside, I didn't think he had the traction to do it. But
that's what happened. It was Dan Thorne getting his braking all crossed up, just planting it into the side then of Lee Harrison, and causing that chain of impact in towards turn 2. Crossing back to the action, and here's Dave Morley, who's made a good start from 17th place. Number 149 in the slipstream then of Campbell Wallace. He's looking to get up the inside into the final corner. Then don't also forget about his teammate Neil Crawford as well, very close behind. And also Power Ray. Oh no! Very deep on the brakes goes Dave Morley, and he was looking to get ahead of Pete Walker there as well, biting off more than he could chew, and he's back down then below his original starting slot, down into 19th place.
Davies has spun for some
Matt Davies,
reason.
number 85, goes round for the PSP Motorsports driver, so a bit too early on the gas for him. As we cross then on board with Joe Nathan, number 26, he's made gains on the stars, and is just behind then Jamie Hunt.
Indeed, and Jamie Hunt there had a quite solid first time out in before. He's shown a lot of speed. He's just going to keep it just riding the curves a little bit. We saw with Jamie Hunt, he likes to have his car very squivelly under braking, but he's also very strong on the brakes.
So here's Joe Nathan. Under braking. That was Joe Nathan there getting a bit. He was locking his front tyre going into the hairpin there. We saw. Anyway, you were saying sorry there, Nick.
Yeah, and just Joe Nathan there and Odell getting. Hunt has gone off.
Into the final corner, just got his braking point mixed up, and then he goes off and drops quite a few positions. Yellow flag we can see on circuit due to that incident, but James Price-Harper then chasing down the 3rd position Tom Bellingham in the Independables car. So the cars are on the main straight in towards the flat out left-hander of turn 1. Price-Harper then is getting ever closer, corner by corner, on the Independables Holden, and into the hairpin. This would be a brave move if he can make it stip. That would be a great lunge, but Tom Bellingham firmly shuts the door and says, no, my friend, you're not getting through there.
No, I mean, Bellingham's quite an adept at the lunges himself, so he can spot one coming a mile off. Did just exactly the amount he needs to. Didn't cut Price-Harper off too much, but also didn't leave him any space to get back underneath. But Price-Harper will certainly not be going away, and he'll be back for more later.
He certainly will. He's got very good grip in these opening stages of the race, has Price-Harper. Then on lap 3 out of 14, and we can see Tom Bellingham, they're just missing apexes as well, perhaps cracking under a bit of pressure, or maybe just not got his tyres up to temperature as quick as Price-Harper. But equally, the drivers are pushing very, very hard as well. But it's Ollie Knight then who has romped away at the front of the field.
Yes, indeed. We saw in the first race that Bellingham went quite a long way into the race without having to do his first pit stop, so maybe his car that's set up over and the tyres just aren't warming up quite enough, but of course that will come back to benefit him later in the race. Whereas James Price-Harper might be thinking he's got to go for it now before his tyres go off too soon.
Maybe so. We should also mention, of course, due to the duration of this race, just a 20-minute long event. We're not expecting any pit stops, even due to the high tyre wear at the Sydney Motorsports Park circuit. So it should just be a sprint to the finish, as Ollie Knight then, he's not hanging around. A 1:27.184, so that's the fastest lap of the race that is a Sydney Motorsport driver, trying to get a gap, and he's currently got a gap on Sam Harani in second place of 2.3 seconds. Here we go then. Here's James Price-Harper up the inside of Tom Bellingham, very deep on the brakes. Is Price-Harper. He's going to cut back underneath. He gets the undercut, but Price-Harper's going to have the line for the right-hander and manages to defend his position. They're very close, both getting the tails out through the right-hander. Tom Bellingham then cuts to the outside. Price-Harper has the inside line. I think, though, Tom Bellingham's got the right line into the corner. Great craftsmanship between the two, and Tom Bellingham eventually reigns supreme, and that allows Price-Harper just to get into the slipstream once more. He's harassing him all over the place, and Tom Bellingham then in third position, and James Price-Harper there currently in fourth, getting very, very squirrely out of that right-hander.
Oh, that was absolutely superb driving there from Tom Bellingham. I thought that he had the position lost, but somehow he went all the way around the outside, that very fast right-hander. And of course he had the inside line. Oh, Price-Harper's coming down the inside though for the hairpin, and I think it's going to gun him out and gain the position. He
has, he's got the superior traction there. Tom Bellingham, we saw, just clip the curb a bit too much. That unsettled his car a bit, and it sent him far too wide, which didn't allow him to get onto the power as early as he would have liked to. And Price-Harper then effectively gifted third position. Anyway, crossing back then to see what's going to be happening a bit further down the order. Nothing really has changed thus far, but we're then on board with Alex O'Dell, who's a couple of positions behind this lot, and he's in sixth position as the number 23 of the power team. Currently sitting there behind, I believe,
it's Joe Nathan, I think.
Joe Nathan, it is. You're quite right. The rear
and Harrison. Look at him.
Yeah, he's got red in front and behind him as well. He's got a red bumper to look at and a red front behind him. So Lee Harrison then very close behind Alex O'Dell. So it's a Valor Racing, Power Racing, and Defenders kind of sandwich, really, with the Power Racing driver in the middle of it. But Alex O'Dell then very close behind Joe Nathan there, the number 26, and he just needs to have that as a bit superior grip, potentially launching a move up the inside into that left-hander, but not quite there. And thinks about it again, but it just doesn't have the track position. Anyway, Lee Harrison then, at the moment, through the left-hander he goes, and is looking very menacing behind O'Dell.
James Lambert right there behind, just slightly further. I think he's got someone directly behind him. I can't quite see from the angle. And O'Dell is going to go down the inside of Joe Nathan, and is Harrison going to follow him through?
That would be a fantastic move and a great opportunist move from Harrison if he can make it off, but I don't think he can. But O'Dell does have the whole shot against Joe Nathan, but Harrison not taking things lying down is the number 7 in 7th. Into the final complex of corners they go, and Harrison then, of course, is going to have the slipstream, but don't forget about Joe Nathan as well. He, of course, has Alex O'Dell in front of him, so O'Dell could be the sitting duck on the straight. But given the race one, the slipstreaming that we saw, I shouldn't imagine it would be on the main straight. It would more than likely be in towards turn 2. So there we are. We see, of course, that's Joe Nathan ahead of Lee Harrison, but Lee Harrison's got a great run through turn 1 then. Up the inside in towards turn 2, into the braking zone he comes. Yellow flag we can see on the screen. That is because of James Price-Harper there, who's gone off, had a bit of an impact into the turn 2 hairpin. But anyway, Lee Harrison then has gotten ahead of Alex O'Dell. Here's the incident with Price-Harper into the hairpin and just went far too deep on the brakes, did James Price-Harper, maybe suffering a bit of brake wear. Perhaps needs to move his brake bias a bit further back. That allowed Tom Bellingham to get through, but Lee Harrison then ahead of Alex Odell, who likewise is ahead of Joe Nathan. So Lee Harrison up to 5th position.
That was a wonderful bit of opportunity driving there from Lee Harrison. Odell and Nathan were busy having their own fight, and then suddenly the opportunity presented itself. Harrison took Odell and then saw he could get by Nathan as well, and he's under attack again by Odell. He's going to look to switch back, but Harrison positions his car perfectly.
As Joe Nathan goes round. Yeah, Joe Nathan just spins it round. Collects James Lambert as well. Jamie Hunt just manages to avoid it, but James Lambert there, just a passenger in all of that. Joe Nathan trying to get back round onto the circuit and back into the action as quick as he could, and just didn't see James Lambert coming around there. It's a bit of a blind corner, that, especially when you're sitting at such an angle. So I've been told, at least. Anyway, crossing back to Alex Odell, who's really had an impressive run in this race. And he has some great pace in race 1, and he's really demonstrating that he is a force to be reckoned with here at Eastern Creek. And he's got a great run then on Lee Harrison through turn 1. Oh, no, that's not what you want. No, Tom Bellingham there going around. James Price-Harper as well, also involved. Have to wait and see a replay of what happened with the impact there. But Tom Bellingham then, here we go, on board with James Price-Harper.
Get way too hot.
Way too on the brakes. Oh dear, not what Price-Harper would have wanted. I think maybe is he suffering from a brake issue, something like that?
Yes, it's the same turn in the same 2 laps.
Because we saw something similar, I believe, at Hidden Valley. He suffered some mechanical gremlins, didn't we? Anyway, here is Bjorn Golder making his way back through the field in 16th place ahead of the PSP Motorsports car ahead of him. Don't forget about Dave Morley, who's up front, as well as Dan Thorne, who's very close ahead of them as well. Anyway, so yeah, I was mentioning that James Price-Harper, he suffered a mechanical gremlin in race 2. Oh, there we go. We see the PSP Motorsports. He does, yeah. Niall O'Connell spinning around the number 75 there into 16th place and going down to about 70. Lost his front bumper as well. That's not what he'll have wanted. Into the pit lane then for Niall O'Connell. He'll have to be making up some serious deficit to the cars ahead of him. But looking at Neil Crawford then. But as I was finally getting around to mentioning, Price-Harper suffered a mechanical gremlin in race 2 at Hidden Valley, and maybe he's suffering something similar on his Holden in race 2 here at Eastern Creek. Not going well, the race 2s for Price-Harper.
Yeah, it could be. We've seen before in other racing series that even just a tiny bit of percentage on the brake bias can aggravate an already existing issue, and maybe Price-Harper is a bit too aggressive, maybe putting a bit too much bias on the front, and then his front brakes are wearing out too quickly as a result.
Maybe that was the case. Anyway, looking at Neil Crawford then, who's getting very, very close to the mark out of turn 1. Closely behind is April Dillon, I believe that is, of the Howler Racing team, who's looking to make up progress following her earlier incident on lap 1. Fireco's Racing's Ben Haddleton just moving out of the way there as well. So there we are, on board with April Dillon, the 315, and she is in 11th position, so they're fighting over the final point-paying position then. On board then with Dillon. Through the right-hander they go. Dillon, of course, the only female competing within this race, and proving to be very, very competent and very competitive as well, especially as we saw in race 1, relating back to Hidden Valley once more. She gained her first podium of the series. Golder then going up the inside into the hairpin, so they're not even battling for points position, but you'd think they were going for the lead of a race. Oh, as there goes Neil Crawford round in the 222 Kibitsu racing car in 11th position there. Not what he would have wanted. Manages to get it back on track as his teammate Campbell Wallace there goes past him as Price-Harper off again. Oh, 6th position is Price-Harper in at the moment and losing even more.
Turn 1 again.
It is. Goodness gracious. Turn 2 rather, you should say.
Yes,
but
it
yeah, it is. So that turn 2 being a pesky little number for Price-Harper at the moment. Don't forget about Pete Walker then, who's very, very close behind Price-Harper now as well. The Power Racing driver just behind the offenders of number 78, James Price-Harper. So Price-Harper's race going from bad to worse.
Well, it's been the story of this season really for James Price-Harper. He's shown tremendous speed, but he makes a little mistake and they all seem to accumulate on him.
Not necessarily being his fault as well. Don't forget, of course, about race 2, where he was taken out at Hidden Valley by Manuel de Samaniego, he was lapping actually, wasn't he? Of course.
That's right, and he got a reprimand for it.
He did Manuel de Samaniego, and needless to say, Price-Harper was not very pleased about the incident. I chatted to him after the race, and he was understandably quite disgruntled about it. All of his hard work seemed to have been undone. He came across the line to finish in 5th position as opposed to the podium, I believe, where he should have. Anyway, here's Bjorn Golder looking at the inside of the 802 Independables car of Dan Thorne and manages to get ahead very nicely, does Golder, up into 13th position. Then lucky 13 for the Scuderia Acello driver.
Yes, of course, he's 13th in the standings and now he's 13th position in the race.
He is, so doing very well is Bjorn Golden, making up some good progress. Also making up progress now is Price-Harper, then up the backside of, excuse the term rather, but up the backside of Jamie Hunt, who is in the Young Offenders car, so the sister team, should we call it the cousin team, I suppose, something like that? Or the
nephew team, something like that.
Nephew team, yeah, the distant team of of the offenders. You've got the offenders, then you've got the defenders, and then you've got the young offenders. Essentially, that's how the family tree in quotes works with the offenders.
Of course, the young offenders is a jokey name. Both their drivers are young, and of course, it makes them sound a bit like scallywags.
Yes, exactly. It's a bit questionable at times, isn't it? Of course, that's the N teams division. Anyway, they are going absolutely hammer and tong on circuit. James Price-Harper then looking towards the outside into the hairpin, looking maybe to get the undercut, of course throwing Jamie Hunt off, but Jamie Hunt then not taking things lying down, cuts across, but Price-Harper then has got some good track position but hasn't got anywhere to use it and has got the speed as well, maybe looking to launch a move or getting the slipstream in towards the straight is Price-Harper. Don't forget about Pete Walker then very close behind as well onto lap 11. Only 3 laps remaining. I can't believe how quick this race has gone as well. So 3 laps remaining then, and we see Jamie Hunt there, the young offenders driver, going defensive, but no need to because Price-Harper there hasn't got anywhere to use the speed. But this is where we've seen drivers catch up, and this is where we see Price-Harper as well. But he's had so many incidents into turn 2. I think it'll be a bit apprehensive about making a move, and apprehensive he is indeed. And that's why, because he's just getting so deep. Oh yes, very close there between the two. So Walker then goes up, and Price-Harper then renegotiated down into 8th place. Don't forget, of course, about Joe Nathan as well. Price-Harper then getting all sorts of squirreling around there. He'll probably be smiling, but not making much progress.
No, I bet he can't wait for the race to be over really by now. James Price-Harper's just suffered setback after setback, and Odell's spun. Yeah,
after such a promising start to the race, Odell in 5th position, spun but didn't lose that much ground, fortunately, for the power racing driver.
No, just lets Bellingham by.
He does. So down into 5th position is Odell, and here we then see the race 2 winner at Hidden Valley, Pete Walker, who had a bit of a torrid race last time out, made a good recovery drive though. He is looking to get past Jamie Hunt, but very deep on the brakes, locks his front tyres, and straight into the barrier goes the power racing driver, down to 10th position currently, and gets it back on track just ahead of the PSP Motorsports car then of Niall O'Connell. Anyway, that allows Price-Harper to again make inroads into Jamie Hunt onto lap 12. They're coming now to the penultimate lap of the race, and number 78 will be looking to get up into 6th position. I think that's probably the best that Price-Harper can hope for. But again, it's that lovely camera shot there, Nick.
Yeah, and we're going to see Price-Harper catching rapidly, but Hunt has gone defensive. It's going to make Price-Harper go the long way around. He just hugs the line there, and he's going to make it very difficult for Price-Harper, but he's not giving up. He's going to have a little look around outside. Probably going to go for a little switchback there. He's going to tuck straight underneath, but Hunt is firmly on the line, and there's nowhere for Price-Harper to go.
There certainly isn't. Don't forget, of course, about Joe Nathan very close behind as well as the Howler Racing Tour as well, not too far behind. But that allows, of course, the incident there, a loss of grip there, rather, I should say, from number 78, James Price-Harper, just got a bit squirrely out of the right-hander, and that allows number 26, Joe Nathan, to get a bit closer behind. Anyway, of course, Ollie Knight, we haven't mentioned him much throughout the race. He's had a quiet race, but he's dominated the proceedings out in front, and he is comfortably leading the field. And I should imagine, again, bar anything going wrong for Ollie Knight. I said this in race 1, but it's not as long in duration, so I think I might be safe this time round. If anything going wrong for Ollie Knight, I think he should comfortably be there, and it should be his for the taking. But Price-Harper, this is the impending battle at the moment between 6th position Jamie Hunt and 7th position James Price-Harper at the moment. Into the final complex of corners they come then for the penultimate time. The penultimate time, rather, the third but last time, onto their penultimate lap, rather, I should state. Anyway, on board then with Price-Harper in the slipstream. He's
got a great run.
He has got a good run as well. Don't forget about Joe Nathan very close behind, but Price-Harper has potentially got the opportunity to get past. Then Jamie Hunt, I don't think he'll make it stick around the outside into turn 1.
But of course Hunt is very strong on the brakes, so he might live to fight another day.
He is, but don't forget, of course, I think Price-Harper had that image in his head about setting him up there, causing him to take the outside line into turn 2. Price-Harper then looking up the inside in towards the hairpin, and not quite there into the right-hander they go, but just hasn't quite got the track position. Joe Nathan getting ever closer, further behind, and of course the Howler racing car then, I believe, of April Dillon very close behind. Oh no, that's not what you want to be doing. So that's Jamie Hunt going off there along with Joe Nathan. Bit of an impact between the two. Pete Walker there got nowhere to go. Very, very good driving from Walker. Oh, maybe not. Getting a bit caught up then with Joe Nathan, and some damage there, I believe, on Nathan's car. Pete Walker then manages to get away with no incident at all, and Pete Walker there had nowhere to go, and I think just got a bit out of sorts and managed to tap number 26, Joe Nathan, in the Valor Racing team car.
Yeah, not much Pete Walker could do there. He just came onto the scene of the accident. Cars squibbling about in front of him, but very gentlemanly, like he still waited up for Joe Nathan, even though there's not really much fault that can be laid at his feet for that incident there.
No, quick shout out to Lee Harrison as well. He's up 9 positions at the start of the race. He is up into 3rd position at the moment, so another podium then for Harrison and the Defenders team, rather. That'll be great for them. The two Kibitsu Racing team drivers fighting for the final points positions at the moment then. That's, of course, Campbell Wallace and Lee Harrison as well. So they're going very, very close on circuit. Careful, boys, you don't want to be touching now.
Well, certainly not, and he's just ducked into the slipstream there. He's going to try and get a good run into the first corner. I don't think it's going to be quite enough to send one down the inside, but in fact he does follow him. He's going to go little look around the outside. We've got a yellow flag out on track for someone. We'll probably see who that is in a second. Oh, that must be Niall O'Connell there, letting them by very sportingly. But it does mean, of course, there's no overtake can be made, and Wallace remains ahead of his teammate Crawford.
There we are. So the checkered flag is out there, and it's going to wave once again for Ollie Knight. He does the double here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Takes the 2nd victory in his 2nd race of the weekend. Great result for the number 21. 2nd place, of course, belongs to Sam Harani there, crossing the line. Great result for the offenders driver, but not for his teammate as well. Anyway, looking at Campbell Wallace as the cars come on there. They're on their final lap now, and I think he's comfortably now just a little bit further ahead of his teammate Neil Crawford. Don't forget about Pete Walker then, very close behind. So Campbell Wallace could potentially be in the running for the final points position, into the hairpin for the final time. Oh, as we see Jamie Hunt there going off. Yeah, I think that was Hunt going off as Crawford then goes round as well. Incident to plenty on the final lap. So Crawford then down into 12th position. Jamie Hunt then also, Ben Hamilton going around in sympathy, I believe. Saw everyone else going off and thought he might have a bit of the action himself. But Pete Walker then in 9th place. That allows, of course, Campbell Wallace then to take the final points position. He's getting very squirrely out of the final corner. Could be a dash to the line for the 2. So he crosses out of the slipstream then. It's Pete Walker and Campbell Wallace. Who's going to take the position? I can't believe it's this close for 9th place. And I think Walker just nabbed it by a whisker.
Oh, wow.
What a final end to the race. Here we are, we see Hunt then, here's his incident, spins off all on his own through the hairpin, and wait for him to get back on circuit. Also, we saw Neil Crawford going around at the wrong time as he gets back onto the circuit. Then there's Jamie Hunt, so there's Crawford. You see his smoke in the foreground just going around. But there we are, the start of the day. Ollie Knight does the double in his Ford, and what a race for him in the junior motorsport team.
And it looks like he's run out of fuel there.
It does. So Ollie Knight there takes the 20 points ahead, of course, of Sam Harani, the defending Really Rubbish Racing champion. 10 seconds ahead of Harrison, ahead of Harani, ahead of Harrison. Bellingham in 4th, Odell in 5th. Price-Harper then recovered to 6th position. April Dillon also in 7th. And then looking at the drivers further down the order, Craig Woolard will be disappointed overall with his weekend, as will James Lambert. Never really seemed to have the pace, did Lambert. Dan Thorne as well made a finish at this point, but never did managed to get into the points, rather. Sam Harani, though, leads the championship 5 points ahead of Ollie Knight, who gets into 2nd place now, demotes Pete Walker into 3rd position, who's on 45 points. April Dillon stays in 4th, Lee Harrison up for 5th, and then further down the order, of course, looking at Bjorn Golder there, stays in 13th position, Tom White down to 14th, Neil Crawford still in 15th, and then, of course, those who are yet to score at the bottom of the field. Ben Hamilton, though, does, of course, move ahead, and there we are. We see the team's championship as well. The offenders are comfortably out in front by almost 30 points ahead of the Power Racing team. They are on 90, and the Next Fest team, of course, are on 64 as well. So a great weekend's worth of racing there, Nick. I can't wait for Bathurst in just over a couple of weeks' time.
Well, if it's half as exciting as we've seen the race today, it would still be cracker. Ollie Knight there does the dream. He could have done this last time out, of course, but he had two very ill-fortune played race. There we see the start. Danton doing what he did last time around, in fact, in race 2, getting too hot into the first corner. And then we saw plenty of spins, but also plenty of side-by-side action. It was Dave Morley getting it all wrong there, turn 2. We saw quite a few people do that, more and more so as the race went on. Here's that great side-by-side moment with Tom Bellingham when he fought off James Price-Harper. Of course, he was to lose the position only a few corners later. Odell, another solid race here until his spin later on. There's Harper, straight into the back of Bellingham. As we saw,
yes.
We speculated that it might have been a brake issue, but he seemed to get on top of it later on in the race.
He did, perhaps just overheating, and there we saw some further incidents later on. Number 26, Joe Nathan there colliding with Jamie Hunt as well. Don't forget about Pete Walker. Had a bit of an incident later on, but this was a great battle between the two Kibitsu racing drivers, showing that no love is lost, and there are certainly no team orders within that outfit. They like to go absolutely hammer on top, but this was the final lap incident we saw. Jamie Hunt there recovering. Of course, Neil Crawford going around. There we are on board with Hunt as his spin on the final lap caused him to drop quite a few positions, but it was Ollie Knight who claimed the victory. Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in, and take care.